Yo, come one, come all, nothing but love, nothing but respect. You know what we do, what we don't, what we is, what we isn't, and what we is here today, bringing you guys and girls on this beautiful Friday day of days. One Piece chapter 1027. As you might have realized, there's something a little bit different going on with the stream today. Over the course of the week, I've put in a fair bit of effort to pretty up and tidy up the looks of the streams going forward. So let me know in the comment section down below what your thinks are of the new setup and the new design. That being said, before we get into it, you know what to do. You know it's really appreciated. Subscribe, like to the channel, hit the bell icon for more notifications of content like this. Follow me on all the socials that you wish to follow me on. And we're currently in October. Today's October 1st. The goal is by the end of the month to hit 50 subscribers. We're currently at 46, and we have a little bar up the top now for a subscriber count to try and help encourage us get along to that goal. So let's get straight into this chapter. Alright, here we go. If you haven't read the chapter already and you want to read the chapter, the link to the chapter is in my Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description down below. So go there and yeah, let's follow through with it. Oh, I already get it's nice. Yeah, no, I really like the layout of it. The layout looks sick, and I like the way the new YouTube profile too. Yo, I love the. I spent a bit of time trying to sort out what my own personal Jolly Roger would look like. This is what I've down here. This is what I've settled on for now. I don't know if that'll ever change, but I think it best represents me, at least at the moment. So let's get going. We've got on the cover page here, cover page request by Tomokiya. Roger flees after doodling on a lion's face. Yo, this is this is actually beautiful. I love the shit-eating grin Roger has, like, strapped ear to ear. It is absolutely freaking hilarious. He's crying out laughing. The lion's, like, eyes are wide out fuming. You got Buggy and Shanks up in the tree crying, terrified of the tiger, or of the lion. Yo, this is actually beautiful. I love this. I love this already. Alright, let's keep going. Let's kick into the chapter. Yo, the moon gleams over Onigashima. Yo, oh, okay, so we're picking up outside with Nekomamushi and Perisparrow. Master Nekomamushi! Careful, Carrot. The sky suddenly got clear. You don't want to accidentally turn Sulong. I wonder what'll happen. I wonder what happened. Yo, so he's covering his eyes, trying to keep that beautiful moonlight off him. Interestingly enough, so we see that the clouds are now clearing up after Luffy and Kaido's clash last chapter. So I take it every clash from here on out isn't going to be like a sky splitter. It's just sort of dispersing the sky. So I wonder if we're about to see the residents of the flower capital see Onigashima now just floating in the sky and start to freak out. Definitely something I am waiting to see. Alright. This is just like what happened in the journal. Oh, okay, we've got Yamato's reaction to it. The clashes between Whitebeard and Roger. Yo. Yo, okay, Ooh. They would also split the heavens. Carrot is warned about the moon. It might mean something. True. I mean, we know that some of the minks can't control their transformation. They just see moonlight and they snap. That's why Peckham's used to wear sunglasses even at night. So that might be one of the crutches here that later on, depending on what happens, even though we've won the battle, maybe the minks are still going wild and we need to have a mini subplot of dealing with them to get them out of the moonlight, potentially. That would be interesting. But yo, I have to point out here, right, up the top of the page, up here, you have Luffy and Kaido's Advanced Conqueror's Rio clash. I specifically have to say, Kaido is using Rio here because it's not... The lightning clash in the middle isn't happening on Kaido's club, right? Because up until this point in time, we haven't necessarily seen Kaido using Rio, but we had seen him using Advanced Conquerors. This is confirming he also has Advanced Rio, seeing as how the epicenter of the clash is in between both Luffy's fist and Kaido's club, as opposed to the epicenter of the clash being on Kaido's club, but not on Luffy's fist. Because, you know, it might not seem too important, but it is a pretty important technicality there because it confirms Kaido can use advanced Rio, right? Um, so, I mean, at this point in time, the man's an absolute monster. You know, now that I think about it, didn't Hawkins have a mink in his crew too? Kind of odd that Oda would forget about that detail. Honestly, I was fighting for the longest time because that mink's name is Force, right? And never make a Forcean deal. You know, a deal with the devil. I was always waiting for it to be revealed that he was the person that gave Jack a Viva card to Zoe since Hawkins just got beaten by Kaido at the end of Dressrosa, but like the timeline didn't quite sync up. But that would have been so cool to see. I would have loved to see Force fighting, especially since we've gotten to see so much of Law versus Hawkins, and they've had a few clashes now. It would have been great to see Force versus Beppo and have two minks going at it in a serious manner, even in Sulong form. That would have been really cool to see, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get it. All right, let's keep moving forward. We'll power through this beautiful chapter, right? Whoa, what was that tremor? What? The hell's going on up there? Yo, so Luffy and Kaido's clash is like just disintegrating the castle. Yo, my boy's hitting Yonko level. I feel like a proud father, you know what I mean? Yeah. Ooh. What happened to Yamato? Is she not withstanding the clash? Ah, his son to Bagua. I was naive to think I could guard myself. Yo! So it had a bit of a delayed effect since the beginning of last chapter where she defended with her, sort of like an ice shell or ice clone sort of thing. But, yo, she's actually injured and bleeding. I think Beppo can't control his Sulong. Yeah, no, I would agree that Beppo can't. Maybe he can forcibly transform, but he can't consciously transform into his Sulong as well. Like, you know how, like, when there are some people, like, we saw Carrot in Whole Cake out in the moonlight but not directly looking at the moon. Maybe it's like, maybe it's not forcible. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe you've got to look at the moon and consciously activate it. But it would seem weird that we're warning Carrot here as well. So maybe, you know what? I'm just gonna say if you look at the moon, you turn. So yeah, I'd say Beppo. Beppo might just be one of the people that goes wild if he looks at the moon. Partially why Law ends up having a submarine to keep them out of moonlit nights. Yama bro, yo, okay, I like that nickname. Yama bro, yo, it's Yama bro. Give that sniveling snake a hand. Who are you calling sniveling, yo? Momo, even looking like an actual god, is still just being a little bitchy brat. You still haven't gotten a grip, Momo. Yo, Luffy's fuming at him as well. He's like, dude, I just had to talk you into biting Kaido. You were pissing your dragon pants. Hold your insolent tongue. Yo, okay. Momo's been aged up, so he's actually got to have a bit of a deeper voice now. So I'll do a bit of a deeper voice instead of the kiddie voice. Hold your insolent tongue. I know what I have to do. But it's not that simple to change oneself. Don't worry, Momonosuke-kun. I've got your back. Sorry we got split up earlier. Huh? Yamato? Momonosuke? Yo, Kaido actually would be dreading this. And yo, Momo's now actually Yamato's age, so I wonder if they hooked up. I mean, could you imagine that kid? Kozuki and Kaido bloodlines mixing together? That would be kind of that's like everyone that's in the Boruto fandom that's like, yo, if Boruto and Sarada just sort of... Alright. Where do you think you're going? And Kaido guns after him with his mighty Kanabo. Like an absolute jock. He's coming in like an absolute jock here. Lend me your strength, Kinemon. Take Momonosuke-sama and run. Yo, is Momo gonna jump and try to fly down? Momonosuke, hurry Momonosuke-kun. Yo, and Yamato's successfully blocking against Kaido here again. In a reasonably even clash, but it doesn't look like there's any advanced Conqueror's Haki on this one, so this is just a regular clash. Yo! And Luffy comes in to tame the dragon. He wraps his legs around Kaido's throat. Yo, that's kind of goofy, but I like it. Yama, bro! I know. You want to fight him all by yourself, right? Yep, yo. We've had many discussions about this, whether or not at this point in time you can, say that Luffy would have an actual one-on-one fight with Kaido or not. I was always along the lines of the reason it was being set up as no one can beat Kaido in a one-on-one fight is for Luffy to break those expectations. But I could understand the people that are like, it's not going to be a 1v1. But at this point in time, Kaido's essentially still full health. Like, any damage he's taken, he's healed from. Like, he's not in any bad sort of shape. So, I mean, you gotta sort of think at this point in time, if Luffy does fight Kaido and it is a 1v1 situation, it's sort of, you know, it sort of counts. Or at least it's hard. It's hard to say whether it counts or not. Yo, good to see you, Glitter. No, man, it's got to be a 1v1 if Luffy really wants to reach the next step. Yeah, see, it's a 1v1 from here on out, but can you say that a 1v1 from here on out is Kaido at full health versus Luffy at full health? Like, is Kaido fatigued enough to be equal with Luffy here? And if so, does that mean Kaido needs a massive handicap for Luffy to be able to fight him 1v1? And if that's the case, like, that's fair, but it doesn't make Luffy necessarily Yonko level yet. But it means after this fight he'll be Yonko level because we know he's got that, insane growth development. I think Luffy can 1v1 drain Kaido. Though I don't know how credible it is seeing that Luffy had plenty of help from other Supernovas before this fight. Like, Luffy kind of drained too, though. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, Luffy exhausted and fighting here, but is that the same as Kaido exhausted having fought 15 other top tier individuals? You know what I mean? It's like, Luffy's fatigued, yeah. But it's like also Kaido has taken on a hell of a lot of people. So it's like, it's ambiguous as to whether or not this is going to count as a one-on-one. Or at least whether or not people will count it. Alright, Momonosuke-kun. Wow, this is the end. Try to grab onto the sky. Grab. Dragons don't actually fly. What? They conjure clouds to use as footholds. Yo, so she's teaching Momo to fly. Dragons dash through the sky. I'm flying. They're called flame clouds. Yo, this is actually... I don't know why. This is reminding me a little bit of Never-Ending Story, you know what I mean? Huh? Get away from the island. Yeah. Yo, and Onigishima's starting to fall apart a bit here. This is wild. Luffy's kind of drained though, but he got rest. Kaido's also wasting energy on holding Onigashima too. I mean, you got to think. Kaido took on all the scabbards, then he took on the 5 supernovas, including Luffy, right? Then they all dispersed, and it was Kaido versus Luffy for a second. Then Kaido won. Then it was Yamato versus Kaido for a bit, and now it's come back to a temporary 3-on-1, going back to a 1-on-1 now. Whereas Luffy this arc has come in, tussled for 2 seconds with Ulti and Page 1, and then immediately, and then took out one number with a 1-hit KO, and then immediately been guided up to Kaido multiple times. It's like, are those same levels of exhaustion? Like, can you say those are the same levels of exhaustion? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a major factor in the draining of stamina. Yeah, I mean, Kaido is lifting a whole island. It's starting to crumble. Does that mean Kaido's powers are weakening? Oh, okay. So Kaido is getting fatigued. Also, we see a big close-up of Kaido's chest, and I'm sorry, I love him. I love him to death. Zoro is one of my favourite characters, but Zoro fans, as much as I love Kaido, his scar from Zoro, right, has not stuck. Kaido's healed back from it. It's kind of dirty. His flame clouds are unstable. They can't support the bedrock anymore. This is bad. We cannot allow it to reach the flower capital like this. Yeah, did Momo just freaking headbutt Onigashima? I got big so I could stop it. It's no use, Momonosuke. Yo, they're right over the flower capital now. Yo, they're like a minute away, if that. But I have to try. We're running out of time. Look, you can already see the capital. It'll be over their heads in under 5 minutes. Luffy's not going to beat Kaido in 5 minutes. So Onigashima's coming down and getting caught, at least. Take the fight to the top of Mount Fuji, the highest peak. I want that Lord of the Rings feel, that Gandalf versus the Balrog on the highest peak, the lightning tracking, only one god emerges, you know what I mean? When you have to use flame clouds, you're a giant dragon too. That's how Kaido's moving the island in the first place. We can hold it back if yours are stronger. Are you mad? I just figured out how to fly and I'm barely managing that. And there is no telling if my powers are exactly like Kaido's. You're able to summon flame clouds. That means you've got a shot. Yo, that actually, I've never considered that. Because I've been wondering for the longest whether or not Momo can do like a borrow breath and do the other elemental stuff. He's summoning flame clouds. So unless the flame clouds are artificially him, I mean, I know this is going to sound really out there, but unless the flame clouds, because he's an artificial zone, are actually being produced by that chemical that's in sea stone that's used to make island clouds, and he's essentially making island clouds that he can walk on and then dispersing them, right? If it's not that, and that he's not actually using dragon abilities, he's using genetically modified abilities that seem like dragon abilities from Vegapunk, and if it's not that, right, putting that down for a second, then at this point in time, he should be able to do all the elemental stuff that Kaido can do. Which means, I mean, scarily enough, Vegapunk successfully can clone a mythical zone, which is, fuck that, man. Don't need the Marines getting their hands on that stuff. I think Nami will help in creating stronger fire clouds. Maybe, that's a good idea. Well, that's cool. Momo's got cloud powers. That really makes me wonder if Vegapunk lied to the government or whatever. Or whether Momo's fruit is a failure. Again, Momo's fruit might not be a failure, right? And Vegapunk might have lied. Or Momo's fruit is a failure because your dragon... Like... See, we haven't seen every aspect of the dragon, so we don't know if it's like 100% successful or if it's a little bit of a failure or not, you know what I mean? Maybe Vegapunk kicked it on Punk Hazard to further investigate it. Maybe it was like 90% complete and 90% like on the dot, but then the problem is with it, like, he just needed a touch more of Kaido's DNA to replicate some of the other abilities and just ran out of time, and Kaido escaped so they couldn't do it. Ooh, fire clouds would be dope. Alright, let's keep going. There's no telling if my powers are exactly like Kaido's. You were able to summon flame clouds, that means you've got a shot. This is an unbelievable disaster. If we do nothing, it'll land like Kaido intended, crushing everyone in the flower capital. It'd be even worse if he were to run out of steam early. His clouds would disappear and Onigashima would be sent hurtling towards the surface. Onigashima is stocked with more weapons and gunpowder than you can imagine. Oh, because it's the only place in Wano that's meant to actually have weapons. This is just a bomb. Yo, I didn't even think of that. The whole island is basically a gigantic bomb. Yo. I mean, that's one way to open the borders. Just sink the island. Go full Whitebeard with it. Even at this distance, there wouldn't be time to evacuate the capital. If it falls, the explosion would obliterate everyone, friends and foes alike. Then we need to stop Luffy. Dude, don't stop Luffy. You need someone holding off Kaido. Yamato, I love you, man. Or lady, whatever. I love you. I love you, Yamato, right? She just comes in, smacks him on the head. Don't be a moron, dude. Yeah! He willingly put everything on his shoulders. even though he can barely stand. How can we stop him after that? Yo, we've got advanced Conquerors Luffy and Kaido facing down each other. I really love how Kaido actually looks like a god. Like, he is the Dragon King, right? If there's a chance that Zeus will eat fire clouds, the Sunny can now fly towards the moon. Kaido's planning to kill himself. Can Big Mom put a homie in fire clouds? And make a hybrid of Zeus and Prometheus? Interesting. Kaido's planning to kill himself nonetheless. The new setup looks amazing. Thank you, Glittercorn. Of all allies and foes. Alright. Yo. I'm loving this. So, okay, are we gonna get to see the Flower Capital's reaction to it now? Luffy's the only one that can defeat Kaido. Telling him about the dilemma would only add to his burden. We'll have to figure it out on our own. Live floor, Skull Dome. Kia! Yo, we got... Yo, is Killer down here? Get it. Oh, it's... Oh! We're here. It's time for Kingu! Get down. King Summer's gone wild. Yo! Is he sending out shockwaves? We see buildings getting cut to pieces and Zoro's blocking. Yo! That's a hybrid form! That's a hybrid form, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's not the world's best looking hybrid form, but that's a hybrid form nonetheless. He's just got bird wings. It actually looks pretty cool with the gimp leather. I'm not gonna lie. It actually looks half reasonable. Yo, King semi-hybrid. Yeet, King versus Hero. Here we go. Let's see. Alright. Oh, don't tell me Zoro's just lost. Alright, so like, I'm just re-looking at the panel structure here. A building gets cut, shit goes flying, Zoro's blocking and just gets sent packing. He comes flying towards Frankie. Huh? Oh. Frankie catches Zoro like a football. Are we about to get an Olympus Bowling 2.0, like against Pickup? Oh. Whoa, Zoro, you okay? He's pretty strong, but that's hardly a surprise. Having trouble on the live floor? Need a hand? Nah, I'm good. Yo, Zoro. Packing it up with the confidence, my guy. That's what I like. That's what I love to see and love to hear. Need a hand? Nah, I'm good. Huff, huff. Hey, King, you bastard. Knock it off with those aimless attacks. You almost hit my backside. Yo. So the difference is going to be here that Zoro and Sanji can team up. King and Queen, they don't look like they're got any form of teamwork together. Also, King's in hybrid form here. You can see his beak. He looks like an old-fashioned plague doctor with like a pterodon horn, and he's got the pterodon wings. That's actually... I mean, look, it's not my favourite design in the series, but yo, it's menacing, to say the least, and he's sending out projectile slashes with his arms. He's like Jesus Burgess, but instead of blunt impacts, he just has a bit of projectiles. Ooh, okay, let's go, Jack. Like Marco. I didn't know Dinah's wings could be like that, huh? So King's wings is another accessory. King's wings dropping down like that, that's the joints of a pterodon, man. That's how a pterodon sort of looks. They've got sort of two-pronged, three-pronged knuckle on their little hand in the middle of their wing. That's why you can sort of look like that. Well, a Triceratops can fly. Man, if it's an Oda's story, anything can fly. Zoro getting pushed back, not gonna lie. Zoro's power scalers are gonna go crazy after this fight. Dude, after this fight, everyone's gonna be like, oh my god, does that mean, like, King's right hook, projectile right hook is, like, just under a combo Yonko Elbath spear? Zoro fans, man. I love Zoro, but Zoro fans, they can be super salty. You almost hit my backside. A pity I didn't slit your throat. The hell you say? Pirate hunter Zoro? He cracked King Summer's mask. Ooh, yes, he did. He broke some of the side off of the mask. Are we getting King's face? Yeah, no wonder he's furious. No one's ever seen his real face. This man is either going to be the most handsome, like, he's going to be Shanks, red hair Shanks levels of handsome, or this man is going to be, like, divulged ass of a face. He's going to look like he's either going to look like he's either going to look bloody amazing, or he's going to look absolutely disgusting, you know what I mean? Yo. Sorry, Frankie, I need you to step back. Got it. Hang in there. Yo, Frankie's just dipping straight away. Tank Udon, yo! And he's charging in. That's pretty much like a shave into a flying maneuver. That's actually... Yo, I don't think we've seen that from anyone that's got flying abilities. That's kind of sick. 3 sword style. Ultra. Divine... Ooh, okay. Tank. Tank Udon, Divine Red Bow. Yo! So King's like Burgess. He's a projectile boxer, but because of his wings, his projectile, like, strikes are more like sword strikes. They're like projectile slashes. That's actually really cool, and that's a cool take with it. And we've got Zorro here, Ultra Tiger Hunt, and he defends against it. We see a Haki Clash. I can see the lightning, ladies and gentlemen. Yo, ooh, okay. So when Zorro blocks, he sends through a slightly, like, his block is strong enough to send, like, a slight projectile that cuts more of King's mask off. Yo, are we about to get a King reveal? Are we about to get a damn King reveal? I'm getting excited for this. Yo, snap, we're gonna see Lunarian, boys. It's probably NL. Owner needs to stop teasing. It's always NL. Alright, no matter what. Every new reveal, it's NL. Hey, Martin Wright. I haven't seen you around before. Yes. Yeah, no, that is true. Nice to see you, Martin Wright. If you haven't done so already and you want to, alright, subscribe. Test out my new alerts feature. This is the first stream set up on this new design. And as you can see up here, we've got a little sub goal for the end of October, trying to hit 50 subs. We're currently at 46, so try and help us get there if you haven't already. But yo, let's get back to this fight. I'm sorry, I love the chat, but man, I need to come back to this gloriousness. So yo, King and Zorro going at it. Zorro gets smacked through another building. Oh fuck. No, I take that back. Zorro doesn't get smacked through another building. Zorro gets his ass slapped. He gets a slap, right? Bitch slapped out of Onigashima. Yo. This is ruthless. So he's out on open water, right? King's charging in. And we see a little bit of King's face. Yo, he's got like a flower tattoo. I don't know why, but that sort of reminded me of Dragon's tattoo a bit. Just in the placement, you know what I mean? But yo, King's giant here, right? His wingspan is the size of one of the horns of Onigashima. Dude's a giant. I don't know who's a bigger bird, right? Big Bird Morgans or King? Both are big birds, but I'm thinking King's a bit bigger of a big bird. What? Hang on. I'm gonna fall. 2 sword style clear lands. Yo! Who needs Skywalk when you can just counter with projectile slashes, baby? Here we go. Yes, sir, and please. He slashes the air to launch his ass back up. And he lands on the side of Onigashima panting. King's gone back into his normal human form. That was close. You should at least use a blade when you're going to kill me. Oh, when you go for the kill. What you just pulled is unforgivable. Oh no, that's the end of the chapter. No, I was just getting King. Oh, wow. The same goes for you. What do you mean the same goes for you? Zorro doesn't pull any dirty tricks, man. He just clashed with you. What's beneath the mask? One Piece. Yo, okay. I'm not seeing no break next week, so I'm definitely feeling like a winner today. Not gonna lie, all right. Definitely feeling like I'm in the good books. Um, yo, looking at King here, symmetrically, dude might be hot, right? Dude might be an attractive looking dude, just with some slick back hair, and he's looking dark. He's looking a bit tanned. Zoro can Geppo using his sword. Zoro can fly temporarily confirmed. I mean, hey, flying's a feat. So, would you think that King will reach a peak higher than Katakuri after this fight? Because as of right now, I think Katakuri is above King at the moment. Okay, look, I'm just gonna say, point blank, at this point in time, my hierarchy for the first mates is Marco's the strongest first mate, just simply because the only way around him is to absolutely overwhelm him, right? If you're even somewhat on his level, he automatically wins the fight just based on his setup, with his ability. All right, Katakuri. Okay, I'm gonna leave Ben Beckman out of this because Benny Boy, we can't gauge him at the moment. Unfortunately, he's a total mystery. So at the moment, of the ones we've seen, Marco's number one. Katakuri's coming in easily at number two, and low key so far out of the other first commanders, he's the only one that I could see potentially beating Marco because he's the only one that can counter Marco's regenerative abilities by entrapping him. Right? So far, from what I've seen from the other first commanders, they are all they're all combat focused or damage per second focused, right? But Katakuri is like a defense focused person with high offensive capabilities. You got to remember his punches were clashing with Gear 4 punches. So it's like, shit, dude in base is a ridiculous. Plus the future sight, plus he can spawn hands anywhere. I mean, like, if 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 Katakuri did to Marco what he did to Luffy just before the Merienda, where he encapsulated him in Mochi, and then just kept doing that and then punching him in there, I mean, he could essentially entrap Marco. So Marco would never get. Marco probably wouldn't die, but I mean, like, he could beat Marco in the sense that he could entrap him, right? From what I'm saying of King so far, literally, he hasn't necessarily shown anything more impressive than Burgess outside of the ability of flight. I know that might sound like heaps, like I'm downplaying King heaps. I want to see him here. I want to see him get up to that Katakuri and Marco level of like, oh shit, man, I love this dude. But right now, he seems to be a projectile slasher, but a hand-to-hand projectile slasher. Burgess is essentially a hand-to-hand projectile slasher, but instead of the slash, he has an impact wave. I've talked about this in the past, but like at this point in time, King's good, but he's not the best that we've seen. I'm hoping the fact though, like the difference might be that King is more ruthless, right? Where Katakuri sort of can be swayed emotionally, and Marco's just a nice guy. King might just be like, I know I'm weaker than you. That's why I'll throw the dirt in your eyes. I'll kick you in the balls. I'll do whatever it takes to try and win, because I know I'm outclassed. I'm a fighter, but more specifically, I'm a survivor. You know. Because of as of right now, I think Katakuri is above him, if only slightly. Yeah, Benny Boy's a mystery. All we know is that he's really smart. Yes, Fire Cloud Provolone. That's the chemical. Thank you, GoDexwell. That's the chemical I was talking about that's revealed in Skypiea. That is from Sea Stone, which we know Sea Stone is only formed in one place in the world, which is Wano, right? And that pyroblin is the chemical that's in Sea Stone that makes island clouds. So that's the only reason that Skypiea can exist, right? You could almost look at it, right? If Mount Fuji is a volcano in the One Piece world, you could look at it as that volcano erupts periodically throughout history, sending sea stone up into the atmosphere, creating sky islands and places like Skypiea that eventually drift to other places in the world until inhabitants of different sky islands manipulate those same clouds to build bridges to each other. Um, Essentially, that's what we were sort of explained to us as the history in Sky Island, and until we got to Wano and really found out that Wano's where Seastone comes from, um, the connection wasn't made. But now, essentially, I guess that's sort of the canon, really. I was sort of sedating it like a theory, but no. I guess at this point in time that would be canon because, yeah, we know that it's specifically from volcanoes that has sea stone, goes up in the sky, makes cloud islands. We got that whole rundown in Sky Island. I've only just recently reread that, so I'm actually pretty fresh on that. I really like that King isn't a traditional fighter too, and that his ruthless demeanor. He's going to really make Zoro question his ability and his approach to this fight. Honestly, you've actually got a great point there. Do you know what you got to think? King, at this current point in time, is probably the best person for Zoro to fight, for him to actually learn how to fight Shiryu next. And what I mean by that and why I say that is because if King's able to fight in underhanded tactics, Zoro's not used to fighting outside of somewhat of an honourable duel. I mean, Zoro versus Mr. One was fairly honourable. Zoro versus Bramheim? Braham? The guy in Skypiea, even though he was a tricky fighter, it was still a reasonable duel to some extent, you know what I mean? Even in Annie's Lobby, Water 7, Kaku 100% was a reasonable duel by the end of it, right? In post time skip, Zoro's essentially just shat on everyone up until his fight with Killer, in which place that was... It wasn't necessarily it wasn't a fair duel because it was one-on-one with a third party that went after Zoro. But at that same point in time, even though they were sort of both nerfed and both in a high tier situation, right, it was fair enough that they were clashing sort of equally. Whereas King here, right, King comes in with a sword, uses the sword to disarm Zoro, and then when Zoro gets his sword back, King comes in, Geppo's in essentially, right, tries to hit Zoro with the big beak, comes in with a right hook, sending him flying with projectile slashes. King's the one guy so far, right, where all the other first commanders have got a fighting style. King doesn't have a fighting style. King closes his eyes and comes swinging and kicking, and he's just like, I'm gonna kick your ass until I knock out or knock you out. You know what I mean? I think Carrot's role isn't finished yet. Hopefully Carrot does some more important stuff going forward. I would really be excited to see Carrot take on a bit more of a bigger role in the rest of this arc. I just feel bad because she just sort of disappeared a bit. Let's look at this color spreads quickly. It's beautiful. I love the idea here that Kaido's tail's on fire. But it's not really... I'll go further up and see if you can see it. It might not really be shown here, but I've brought it up a lot of times in the past and I'm waiting for it. There's actually, in different scenes, you can see a blade hidden in with Kaido's tail. Or at least in a few scenes it looks like there's a blade hidden in with Kaido's tail, amongst the hair and that on the tip of the tail. Heh, still waiting on Smoothie. Oh, dude. Don't even get me started on Smoothie. I think the reason Smoothie isn't here, right? The reason Smoothie isn't here in this arc is simply because she has a sword, Zoro would have had to fight her before fighting King, right? Call me crazy, right? And I think Oda was just like, Smoothie's like a swordsman, but not a swordsman. She's tricky. She's strong. Let's just put her to the side and say she's strong. I mean, I hope the Big Mom Pirates come back and do something major at the end or back half of this fight. But this is sort of like, Oda really lied to us. Hey, we're going into Wano. Oh, okay. How are we setting up Wano? The Big Mom Pirates are coming, and Kaido's pirates are there. It's going to be a big all-out war with the Straw Hats. Woo! Also Oda. Yeah, promised you big mum pirates, but fuck drawing that. Just gonna can't write myself into a corner. I'm just gonna get rid of half of them. Yeah, okay. Let's go back to the beginning of the King fight here. So King does a barrage of projectile slashes, right? So King's at this point is just a touch better than Burgess because Burgess seems to do one punch and one elbow at a time with a shockwave. King seems, based on this, looks like he can just go whack, whack, whack. You know what I mean? Where can you read it, Ibby Ali? The link to the chapter is in my Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description down below. All right, go join the Discord. Click on chapter links. Every week when the chapter drops, the link drops right in my Discord. All right, hit the bell icon on my Discord. It'll help you that way. All right. There you go, my guy. And if you haven't done so already, and for anyone watching that hasn't already, all right, subscribe to the channel. All right, follow me on any of the socials. I really do appreciate it. And try and help me get to my subscribe goal of 50 subscribers by the end of October. Again, Ali, where do you read it? You read it on TCB scans. But if you don't know how to find TCB scans, the link to the chapter is in my Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description for the video. All right, just click on the description of the video. Click on the link for the Discord. All right, go straight over to the chapter links every week. All right, chapters drop live, and I go live as soon as the chapters drop. And the links are there for anyone that needs to read through. Because I remember back in the day when I was watching streams and stuff like that, and no one could find where the chapters were, and you'd be sitting there going, "Please, someone tell me where to read it. I don't want to go straight into a reaction. I just want to know what happens first." So I understand your plight, my guy. And also subscribe if you haven't already. It's appreciated. All right, back to it. So King's able to do massive projectile slashes. Not just massive projectile slashes, he's able to do multiple really quick in succession. But I think the explosions are not that threatening anymore. What explosions, Godexwell? Are you talking about like the explosive cuts here, or are you talking about Burgess in his like crushing impacts? Because if you're talking about King, I mean, it's impressive the fact that he can do so many. You know what I mean? I mean, they're not super huge, but they're impressive enough, right? And if you're talking about Burgess, Burgess, the anime and the manga for what Burgess do, two very different things. Well, for the common people, I think it's pretty bad. I mean, true that. But yeah, Burgess in the manga, right? He doesn't do like what he does in the anime where it looks like his shock elbow comes from his like gauntlet on his arm, where he's like shock elbow and shoots it out. In the manga, it's like quite simple. He's doing what King's doing right here, but instead of a projectile, because he doesn't have like a thin piece of the body that it's coming off, right? He's doing an elbow and it's like a blunt force impact. So it's like the same thing, just different styles of it. The island itself is a living explosion. Not that it's living in cause. Oh yeah, no, the traveling bomb that is Onigashima. I mean, okay, chat. Help me out here. Give me your thoughts on this. We've got to open Wano's borders. The only way to successfully open Wano's borders is to take Wano from up here above sea level, bring it down, and wipe out the bad sea around it. That's the only way to make it readily accessible, and the only way to make it quote-unquote open-boarded, right? So, maybe, just maybe, right? Instead of, because everyone else, the citizens at the Flower Capital, maybe instead of, in the long term, saving the Flower Capital and stopping Onigashima falling, maybe Momo actually picks up the Flower Capital. That's a possibility, no different to Onigashima, isn't it? Maybe Momo actually picks up the Flower Capital and moves it out the way. Onigashima drops. Wano blows the fuck up, dropping down to sea level, right? and then they drop the flower capital back on top after, and then all the citizens live in the flower capital essentially when they try to rebuild. The way the anime made it look kind of makes it seem like Donchinja's Shockwave, Burgess' elbow attack. I mean, what if the reason Fishman Island will collapse? Nah, Fishman Island will collapse because of something with the road line. Because you got Marijoa right above Fishman Island, right? But I mean, the fact that you, honestly, when the theory, well, no, sorry, not the theory, the prediction that Straw Hat Luffy will bring ruin to Fishman Island, right? I think the interesting takeaway from that is actually a straw hat person. It's silhouetted. We assume it's Luffy, right? Probably is Luffy, but how do they bring destruction? What if it's that Luffy ends up confronting Blackbeard in that area? We know that there's a missing road poneglyph, right? What if the missing road poneglyph, since we saw it in flashback, was in Fishman Island? They have to go back a little bit before they go forward, right? And maybe there's a final showdown with Blackbeard there that starts to spark the war, the final war in a lot of ways. Because either One Piece is going to be found and then the war starts, or because of the state of the world, the war comes first, and then this resolution is after the war. We have everything we need to go find the One Piece, and the One Piece is essentially giving us the backstory for the aftermath of the war, potentially. That, again, probably won't go down that way, but there's different potentials for what Oda could do. That's a dope possibility. Oda could blow up Wano's borders, both literally and metaphorically. Maybe the Wano is really near Fishman Island, since the compass, I forgot what, the log post, it's just pointing to the next location, not meaning it's not straight path. I mean, you got to remember as well, it's like you had Fishman Island, Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, went to Zoe, which was a moving island, went from Zoe to Whole Cake Island, which is probably more over into the center of, or to the right side, or, yeah, right center of, because the one that was going schizo for, Punk Hazard was on the left. So Whole Cake Island's in the middle or on the right of the, New World, right? And then from there to Wano, whether that's to the left or to the right, it was 2 weeks away. So it could have, like you said, it could have even been going back towards the Grand Line. Because if that's the case, then if Wano is closer to the Grand Line, to the Red Line, than it is to the end of the New World as a possibility. That also might go in with the theory that the volcano, Mount Fuji's a volcano that forms Sky Islands, and King's race living above, like the Lunarians living above Marijoa, might have been because that's where Cloud Islands used to naturally form because of Mount Fuji. Possibility. So okay, we've got King slashing about here, right? Zorro gets sent packing, so they are really strong hits, but they're not so strong that Zorro gets injured while blocking. Like, it's strong enough to knock Zorro back, but it's not strong enough to break Zorro's guard, if that makes sense. Zorro's a bit injured, but he's good. Oh, that's not Sanji, is it? Yo, in this panel with King and Queen, no, that wouldn't be Sanji. Sorry, I just saw black boots, like, right in front of Queen. Black boots, like, in the air with someone on their back, like they've just been knocked over. And we know that Queen and Sanji were supposed to be fighting. And I was like, shit, that's all. Sanji didn't get knocked on his ass for a second then, did he? That's why CP0 can get there immediately. Potentially. Potentially. We've also got to remember that New Marineford is right in front. It's one of those near immediate islands after Fishman Island. So that's something to take into consideration as well, because near the throat of the New World is also New Marineford, where Akainu and that reside. So, I mean, depending on where we've been scrambled around, you're not wrong. We could get reinforcements come out of nowhere pretty damn quickly and in a really threatening way. Not gonna lie. Yo, so okay. King comes in here and clashes with Zorro with his wing. That's actually a really impressive feat for King. Just thinking about it, because King here hits Zoro twice and overpowers Zoro significantly twice. Not to the extent that like Kaido and Big Mom in a joint attack did, but like they hit him. King's just got hit, send him flying, comes in, hit, sends him flying. No different to I mean, realistically, when Gear 4 Luffy made contact with Katakuri the first time, and he got 2 hits in before Katakuri went to being calm again. Very reminiscent of that sort of situation. And it's crazy to see how gigantic King is. Oh, Clear Lance can also mean Sky Tanuki. That's a little funny. That's a little funny. Alright, chat, what do you reckon? Is King gonna look like an attractive person, or is he gonna be like have some real messed up stuff? Because we see further, like earlier on in the chapter, where was it? There, he's got some markings above his eyebrow, right? That's a sort of a flowery pattern. So, and we know in his human form he's got wings, and his wings have disappeared. So he's definitely like, you know, a Skypian Birkin sort of thing. I wonder what that pattern over his eyes is supposed to mean. That's interesting. That is definitely interesting. Yo, does that mean... Okay, I gotta give a bit of a prediction here. Next chapter, we're gonna see a bit more Zoro versus King, and we're gonna see King's face, because you cannot say what's beneath the mask and next chapter not follow it up with a face reveal. So I think what's gonna happen, we're gonna get like 2 or 3 panels of an opening fight with Zoro and King again, where Zoro lands a lucky hit and gets a face reveal from King, and then we're gonna cut to Sanji versus Queen, and Queen's gonna give an exposition dump on King, because King doesn't seem like the type of person that monologues about himself. I think King will be a real handsome boy, but if he isn't, he's gonna be a real ugly man. I mean, you're not wrong. At the moment, dude, like, the best way I can describe it at the moment is he sort of looks like a dark elf from, like, Skyrim or something. You know what I mean? Slick back hair, bit of a tan, very angular face, some piercing eyes, to say the least. Although now I have an annoying question. Why did he have goggle holes on his forehead if he never used them? Those were 100% prosthetic. They were cosmetic as anything. When he flies, he doesn't like whip him down to protect his eyes or anything. That was 100% cosmetic. He's 100% going to be a handsome boy, because 100%, like, he does stuff cosmetically, dude. As simple as that. Ooh. I didn't actually really notice this. What's this smokestack coming up from near Zoro? Something flung over near Zoro. It's also mentioned that King can conjure fire without the aid of science or devil fruit. So that's going to play a big role in the incoming fight. I mean, isn't it just so handy that Zoro just so happened to copy Kinemon's fire cutting technique off screen? Yes, sir. I think it is definitely a smart thing to do. It's because King's saving those goggles for Usopp after the fight's over. Oh, 100%. Do we not agree that Usopp's next major power-up is just going to be some thick goggles? I mean, we all know observation haki doesn't matter, right? You just need some thick goggles, man. They do the job just nice. That's how he's going to beat Van Orgel, man. Van Orgel can see past the horizon. Like, we're not going flat Earth here, but with a globe, right? Big old ball, right? If you're over here, there's like a drop-off point where you can't see over the horizon, right? So you got a horizon line. In One Piece, canonically, right? Van Orga can see and shoot over her horizon line because he killed those birds before the Straw Hats could see Jaya as an island. So I mean, gonna have to get some goggles. Start, using the intricate mirror systems to emulate this. Maybe he'd have hair like Sanji. Or eyebrow. Oh lol, yo! If King has rose-like eyebrow patterns, that would actually be kind of funny. That would actually get me. That'd get me to laugh. That'd get me to shit myself laughing. I reckon. If King's, yeah, that'd actually be funny. All right. There's not a whole lot that went down with the King fight. We see him start to come out of his hybrid form here. Oh god. Yo, actually looking at him close up here, he's like a long arm tribe member here, because he's got his normal arm down to his elbow, and then from his elbow to his wrist is normal, but where his wrist would connect to his hand is where his wings form, and they've still got joints. King, my dude, you're kind of creepy looking, just like, you got your whole thing going on, that's fine. But I need you to, like, get those arms back to normal, man. That's kind of just, kind of looking filthy there. I can't unsee it anymore. Yeah, 100%. King's got flowery eyebrows, man. Alright. That's why Sanji can conjure fire. The Lunarian trait is to have really messed up eyebrows. Alright? That's all it is. No, it's not the wings, it's not the fire ability. Like, the weirder your eyebrow is, the stronger your flames get. Alright? As Sanji powers up, his eyebrow's gonna start curling in more and more and more. It's gonna happen. It's interesting though. So, Frankie catches Zoro coming flying in and then runs away from the live floor. So I wonder where Frankie's going now, because he's on the outside of the castle. Interesting. Because we've got the rest of the Straw Hats as well that sort of need to meet up and do something. At this point in time, I mean, they can fight, yeah, but we still got no clue where the red poneglyph is, the Rio poneglyph, right? We had a poneglyph at Orochi's castle, a poneglyph in the basement down here, and we're missing the road poneglyph, right? And which means Kaido had 3 poneglyphs, no different to Big Mom. So at the end of this arc, we're at minimum getting 6 poneglyphs, 2 road, 4 Rio. So the info dump can happen soon. Alright, I gotta ask, chat. Do you reckon... Are we almost at the end of Onigashima and Wano? Like, is Act 3 the end of Wano? Or is there gonna be an Act 4 at all? What do you guys reckon? Because I know everyone and their mother has been theorizing about this for a while now. But it really depends, because we've got a few little plot lines and that we need to start addressing, but we can do that pretty damn easily. It's just hard to gauge like where and what's gonna happen, you know what I mean? Yo, alright. I'm gonna go back, look at a little bit of the first half of the chapter here. Let's go back. I want to see some Luffy versus Kaido again. Oh, yeah, hey, that's another thing. They set up with the Nekomamushi's being clean now as well. So where's he going to move to next? Because now that we've got some heavy hitters that have won their fights, like, the fodder are going to get overwhelmed. Like, if you have the Straw Hats and Nekomamushi and Inarashi make it to the live floor, it doesn't matter how injured they are, right? Those gifters are just done. No, it's going to be a 4-parter. There's too many loose ends just to cut it off now. Okay, so you reckon there's going to be a fourth act or a fourth and fifth act? I mean, again, the traditional kabuki play is you've got Act One, which sort of sets up the playing field. Act 2 and 3, where the story starts to speed up a bit and develop, um, with Act 4 being the conflict and Act 5 being an extremely fast resolution, right? If we go the kabuki play structure, I think that there's just 3 acts in Wano, but the fourth and fifth acts is outside Wano. Oh. Okay. Let me lay this on you actually, since, like I said, things are developing a bit, and you bring up a good point, right? Instead of Acts 4 and 5 being outside of Wano, right? What if we pause Luffy versus Kaido? Like they clash a little bit, but they don't beat each other. Act 3 ends with Onigashima mostly falling onto the capital, right? Causing a lot of destruction in Wano, and Momo finds a way to try and lift up the flower capital and lift up Onigashima, right? So, like, yeah, what's that Titan's name from Greek mythology that's holding up the world? Because you got to think, like, Odin held up the scabbards, right? And that was the symbology for him. Momo's gonna have to do that. He's gonna have to hold up Onigashima and hold up the flower capital to protect them, right? The parts of Onigashima are gonna fall down. Boom! Wano gets decimated, gets blown down to sea level, right? With all the bad people defeated and Wano reset, Act 3 ends with everyone going down to rest, and it just comes down to Luffy versus Kaido, right? Act 4 is the Luffy versus Kaido show. Because it's a one-on-one fight, either everyone's circling around and watching the fight, or people start trying to, clear the way, protect themselves, heal the injured, look for poneglyphs, right? Potentially, with that being the major conflict as well. The turbulent sea and coming down to sea level would mean the big mum pirates can now invade, and it might be about protecting their shorelines a little bit, right? Um, but then that won't drag on too much. I don't know, because we've still got Big Mum. Oh my god, there's so much potential plot jibbery jabbery here. Because if Onigashima goes down and Wano gets flattened, right? Big Mom could just be like, see her crew trying to invade and be like, nah, screw this, we're dipping. Nah, man. Nah, we don't want none of this mess. We're gonna get out of Dodge. Or it just opens up the door to actually have Wano be invaded by an outside force easier. You know, where they don't have to go up the waterfalls and all that sort of stuff. It's really hard to predict because there's a lot of elements involved, like CP0, Marines, Grand Fleet. 100%. And it's like, and the worst part is, right? I'm getting hung up on the moment, like, about the storyline of opening the borders. But there's a lot of plot lines that some people are like, yeah, those are plot lines that have to be hit, some that don't. But the thing is, the plot lines still need to be addressed. Like, there's a fair few plot lines that are still really relevant and really heavy. We need a bit of a Kaido backstory. We need to see some Kid and Law versus Big Mom. We need to open Wano's borders, but we also need to see what the aftermath of opening Wano's borders to the world actually means. You know what I mean? Not just that as well, but we have to have the party, the after arc party, to celebrate Jinbei joining the crew and potentially anyone else joining the crew, if you know what I mean. And we've got to have the whole info dump from the poneglyphs, right? So it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard to predict at this point in time. Not to mention all the stuff at the Reverie. I mean, major forces are moving outside of here. Like, I still don't. We're supposed to see Shanks move this year. The year's almost over and we haven't seen him move, so that's why I keep bringing up the whole 3, 4, 5 acts, because I'm like, if we're ever gonna see Shanks do something, it's gonna have to be soon. And if he does do something soon, I'm sort of sitting here just like, well, we need to have a break. We need to cut away, because I don't think it hurts the story for Shanks to show up here, right? Because for Luffy to be a Yonko, he needs to put the, he needs to be able to get himself out of the trouble he gets himself into as a Yonko. If that makes sense. If Shanks comes out here and bails him out, can Shanks really meet Luffy and say you're a great pirate because he had to bail him out? You know what I mean? Which makes it hard because we've got Big Mum here. So it's like, does Luffy beat Kaido once he's beaten Kaido because he's got a hang of like all the abilities and that Law and Kid have like weakened Big Mum and fatigued her significantly. Luffy comes down, is like, I beat Kaido. Big Mom's like, that's impossible. I'll get you. Straw Hat comes charging in, and then we get, like a classic Luffy one-hit KO like he did against Alvida and St. Charles and all that sort of stuff. There's so many things happening. I don't want One Piece to be rushed. No, that's one of my biggest fears at the moment. I don't want the story to be rushed, and I trust Oda not to rush it, but there's a few things, like getting King's bounty and Marga's bounty and data books and that. It's stuff I would have loved to have in hard copy at the end of the day in my volume to be like, man, I remember that week. That week was insane. Like, last week, seeing the sky splitting and me being like, Luffy's on that Yonko level now just because of that. I'm like, when I have the physical and the hard copy in my hands, I get to go back and I get, like, when I reread, I'm like, I remember this week. I remember the moment, and it's like so much more impactful as opposed to the Viva card stuff just being like, oh, I think it was revealed in a Viva card. You know what I mean? I hope Oda's health is always better. Shanks is probably moving a leg this year. That's about it. I mean, dude, don't even. The worst part is, right? Oda says those things, but it's not his fault. It's his editors. His editors are like, dude, come on, man, drop some info. What's happening with Boa and Kobe? And is Shanks gonna move? Is Shanks gonna go to the toilet this year? Everyone would lose themselves. The internet would go wild to see Shanks on the shitter. Yeah, Oda always pushes him past his limits, and not in a good way in the health department. The editor wants to rush him through. Editor's really a pain somehow. I mean, I feel bad because I think in recent years, the editors haven't been brave enough to criticize Oda because Oda's been in the industry for so long and he's like the biggest name in the industry realistically. I think editors are a bit afraid to actually critique Oda now because there are some points in the story now where it feels like we're rushed, right? Where we really should have spent a bit more time on those things, and there are things that should have been a little bit more quick and concise that have been dragged out. Since there are always ones, since there are the ones who always say, when will One Piece end? It's always a constant clash. I think the animators would appreciate a longer time frame. Oh, I think everyone would appreciate a longer time frame. Could you actually take a moment and imagine how good One Piece would be if after the story ends, right, they reanimate the entire story start to finish in the same art style as a seasonal anime, right? That would honestly be one of the best shows and best series, and that way you don't have any filler any negative filler that ruins pacing and scenes and impact, right? Because one of the best things about reading the manga sometimes and having it at your own pace is like a fight scene that takes like 2.5 minutes in the anime could literally be like a 3-second, 3-hit combo. That it's like you lose the impact of how fast it was by seeing like screaming and dragging out the fight. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Yo, we've hit 50 views throughout the video today. It is much appreciated. But out of those 50 people that have watched it at some point in time, I gotta say, no one subscribed, and that hurts my feelings just a little bit because we're trying to hit our goal of 50 subs by the end of the month. So if you haven't done so already, you know what to do. You know it's really appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, all right, and do that to test out my new alerts and that for people that subscribe as well. I mean, you might as well abuse it while you can. I think how the Straw Hat fights this arc resulted that way is because of the editors. True, I can't blame the editors given that I feel Oda's pride also gets in the way of some of his rush decisions. Though that's just a theory on my part, seeing I know nothing about Oda personally. I mean, look, Oda's lived and breathed the series methodically for 2 decades, right? At the end of the day, he knows what he wants to have in the story. But you gotta remember, like, the early editor, the editor for the East Blue, and a lot of people say the East Blue is when One Piece was the best, not because of the scale, but because of how to the point everything was. Like, most people that get into One Piece, even though it feels long, the first 100 chapters, right? We hit so many arcs, so many plot points, because every moment was crucially and well methodically executed, right? It's just that the story was on a lower scale, so it didn't feel as grandiose, right? But, like, I mean, look at Dressrosa, and I love Dressrosa, and I'm almost up to it now in a reread through. I've just, I'm about to start Fishman Island, so I shouldn't say I'm just up to it, but in a couple of days to a couple of weeks, I'll be rereading through Dressrosa, and maybe it'll give me a different output, but I was week to week in anime and manga when Dressrosa was coming out for a while, and, like, the pacing was off. There were scenes that were dragged out that didn't need to be, right? And it's less painful in a bulk read, but, like, at that point in time in the story, the editor was new and didn't feel comfortable enough to criticize Oda. He was a bit more of a fanboy, right? And, like, at the end of the day, Oda's a genius with this stuff. He does methodical planning and has so many intricate and insane connections. But every now and then I feel like he needs an editor to just be like, why? That's not good for the story. Just to check him. Even if it's not for him to change the story, but just for him to actually evaluate from time to time. It's like, man, does this hurt the story at all if I do it this way? Or does it make it better? Because at this point in time, like, Jack as a character is hurt. He has not taken a single win in the entire story, right? And we're supposed to believe this dude's an absolute monster and a weapon. But from what I've seen of him, right, he has very limited and, like, he's got very limited skill with attack, very limited speed. His whole thing is that he's got a big HP bar, but that doesn't really matter because people can overwhelm that threshold. You know what I mean? Or maybe the creative differences resulted in Oda somewhat down. Maybe. It is possible. It definitely is possible. Alright. I might start to wrap the stream up here. And I might stream a discussion video over the weekend for this video. I'll get my mate Daniel in there, Eggs for Brekkie. You guys know him. And we'll do a bigger discussion and go through a bit more methodically. It'll give me a bit of time as well to formulate some ideas and any theories I've got after I reread the chapter a few times. It'll definitely help me sort of formulate my thought process a lot better, I think. So I might wrap the stream up there. Again, let me know. Did you guys like the new setup for the stream? I think it's it fits the theme of the New World Supernova. It's a bit spacey, but it's also a little bit piratey. And I hope it looks nice. All right, I put a lot of work in over the last couple of days to try and make it look a bit nicer for everyone. And also, just as an announcement, just to keep people aware of it. Alright, we've got a few questions before I wrap up. I'll get to those in a second. Just to keep an eye out, with this new setup, because I've put so much work into it, I also partially did it to start branching out into some different styles of content. One of the new styles of content is I want to start doing some anime reactions. Now, I haven't decided 100% yet whether or not I want to do live reactions to some anime or whether or not I just want to do recording and uploads, just depending on how I enjoy the story. So I might put that out there in the ether to you guys and girls, whether or not you want to comment and let me know whether or not you would enjoy to see live reactions, so that way you can interact while I'm watching certain anime, or whether or not you would just be interested enough in seeing my reactions uploaded. I've done one today. It'll be dropping out on Wednesday, so keep an eye out for that. But that is for Jujutsu Kaisen. So I will be starting Jujutsu Kaisen. I know nothing about the series. I knew nothing about the series until I recorded it today. But keep an eye out for that. And, you know, that sort of stuff's coming down the woodworks and that. I'm really trying to expand and, you know, branch out into a few other things that I like to do. You know what I mean? Okay, let's look at the comments here. They help and they don't. Yeah, the editors are sort of like, sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not so great. So on a final note, what would you rate this chapter, mate? Oh, it's a Zorro chapter, so I can't rate it low. I do love me some Zorro, but oh, and the Luffy vs Kaidos stuff. Shit, I gotta give the. Oh, it's hard, okay, because I'm not gonna lie, the current, I shouldn't say the current, Onigashima, right? Wano and Onigashima have upped the stakes in the story, right? I can't keep saying chapters are like 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 because realistically, Oda's upped his game so much that the standard One Piece chapter now has raised. You know what I mean? Like, if we're doing a scale of 1 to 10, an absolute deadpan chapter where you don't feel anything positive or negative should be regarded as a 5, should it not? So, like, a 6 is like, oh, you know, something happened this chapter that was interesting, right? A 7's sort of like, oh yeah, I like this chapter, but, you know, it could have been a bit more. It was a bit boring. You know, it was a bit of a waste of waiting a whole week for this. And like an 8 out of 10 would be like, oh shit, this was a good chapter, but you know, it could have just been that little bit extra. 9's sort of like, this was a standout chapter. The only problem is we didn't get like a mind breaking chapter. You know, I like 10 out of 10 chapters like a mind breaking chapter. I think this chapter was an 8 out of 10. The problem is though, my threshold engaged for this at the moment's thrown off because Wano's just been so perpetually on point and so good. I mean, think about it, right? We're on chapter 1027 now, right? Roof Piece was 27 chapters ago. And it's like, since then, it's almost been consistent 10 out of 10s. It's like, Oda, man. When you spend 20 years of your life setting up plot lines and people get hyped over the setup, when he hits the stage in the story, which I think we're at now, where he's starting to pay off all the setups, it's like, dude, you've elevated the story to a new level. It actually, it is not fair. Like the stream because it's nice. Yes, it is nice and it is appreciated. And like I said, help me hit the goal of 50 subs by the end of the month by subscribing to the channel. It is damn well appreciated. And, you know, if you haven't already, follow me on YouTube up here. My Twitter is at NewWorldSuper2. I update posts and stuff like that and drop thoughts. I've been a little quiet on it lately, but hey, don't be afraid to follow it. And join the Discord, because at the Discord, not only do you get links to the chapters when the chapters drop, but you can talk to me directly and anyone else you see on the channel and most of the people in the chat. And it is, you know, enjoyable and it's a good way to communicate. And at the moment, I've got my Twitch down there. I haven't started streaming on Twitch, but I am trying to start doing some streams on Twitch where I start doing some gaming stuff as well. That's one of the ways that I want to be branching out at the moment. Not just, you know, I love my anime and manga and I love talking about it and I'll always do that here. But I also love to play video games and I love playing games and that. And I mean, I have different games where sometimes I just want to play games to just get my thoughts out there, sort of like I do in the streams and that. So keep an eye out for that. I do have to do a bit more work with that because there is a bit of a setup that I need to coordinate because at this point in time, I love entertainment, right? And I have done a lot of work to set up different types of entertainment. I have a PC, I have an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Switch, and I have VR. And I would like to be able to record all that sort of stuff for you guys and girls to, not just be exposed to stuff that you might not have been able to be exposed to before, but also to have fun. I mean, one of the things I want to do is in the VR do some anime mods. I think that would be really cool and fun and exciting, but it's a lot of work and it takes time. As you can see, it's taken long enough for me to even get the stream to this standard, but we're always progressing, and it's just growing the grand fleet. You know what I mean, guys? Um, I'd say the rating has to be a 12 out of 12 instead of 10 for now on. I mean, dude, like I said, the ratings are hard. The ratings are hard. With that, I got to dip, everyone. Yep, peace out, Kuma. Much appreciated for coming by. It's 1:25 a.m. where I am, and I got university classes tomorrow. Yo, GG. Peace, man. Good luck with uni and all that good stuff. Alright, HKM. Let's go. King is GOAT chapter 127. I mean, King goes off this chapter, man. King is definitely impressive. You know what I mean? King is definitely impressive. Peace, y'all. Been a great time on the stream. Hope y'all hit the goal of 50 subs. Yo, really appreciated. Congrats on how good the new setup looks. Again, much appreciated. It's taken a lot of work, and it's been putting in a lot of effort. I think I've been doing this consistently for a year, inconsistently for almost 2 years now. I think it was 2019. I had a few attempts and failed recordings when I first tried to launch the channel that demoralized me for a bit. But no, I've been sticking to it, and it's been good, and it's been fun building this community, and I definitely like it. And like I said, King's an absolute beast. You said it, man. King's an absolute beast this chapter. I'm actually really impressed with the projectile slashes and how consistently and easily he's able to do them. It is threatening because at this point in time, he's able to create a gap between him and Zoro, and he can abuse the gap with the projectile slashes reasonably easy, right? But he's also almost more deadly in a close quarters, up close combat. So it's sort of like, I really am dying to see how King evolves as a fighter here. You know what I mean? Because like, we hear that he's a ruthless, cutthroat dude that's just willing to do anything, that he loves torture, right? And I love to see him how he's utilizing every aspect of the fight. He maximizes the effectiveness of being at range by doing projectile slashes in massive barrage, right? Then he doubles up on that by following through behind those barrage of slashes, right? With closing the gap and coming into close quarters combat, hitting Zoro back to knock him into a battlefield that is advantageous for him, right? King may not be doing Marco and Katakuri level of broken abilities right now, but as a fighter and as a tactician in fighting, he's impressing me at the moment. I'm not gonna lie, right? It's just the problem is like, you can be a smart fighter and still be completely outclassed. I mean, look at Law versus Doflamingo. You know what I mean? New logo is dope. Yo, I like the logo. The logo was cute, you know. Got my little fringe there in the logo and my seedy little goat chin, but you know, it's a nice Jolly Roger. I like how I've got the eyes gapped out so you can see stuff moving through them and that. But yeah, all right, I'm gonna wrap up the stream there. So Straw Hats will evolve. Straw Hats will always evolve, my guy. Straw Hats are climbing to the number uno spot, and the fact that they've now taken out in one-on-one fights the most wanted. I shouldn't say the most wanted. They've taken out the crew of the strongest current or most wanted current pirate, right? Just means that the next step is essentially like, they're already Yonko commander level in that lower threshold of commanders, right? They're not top 3, but you know, they're spread out. And the Straw Hats are starting to get stacked on the heavy end of it. So it's like, at this point in time, taking out the Beast Pirates has me sort of like, well, shit, I'm not really fretting anymore for Straw Hats versus a Yonko crew, right? We're sort of on that threshold. And even with the Grand Fleet, that brings up the, like, I think any of the captains from the Grand Fleet are taking out headliners and gifters. So at this point in time, it's sort of like we're a full-fledged Yonko crew if we come out of this, especially with all the experience we get from this. So, I mean, it's great. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up the stream there. Peace. Nothing but love. Nothing but respect. Keep an eye out for new content coming. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do. Alright? Subscribe to the channel. It's freaking appreciated. Hit the bell icon for more notifications for content like this. Alright? Visit the channel. Visit the social media stuff. All that good stuff. Peace. Have a damn good day. Nothing but love. Nothing but respect. Until the discussion video over the weekend, or until whatever video you decide to come check out. Peace and have a damn